Hello everyone. I guess I'm live right now. Hey, sorry for being late. Thank you for your patience. And I'm Parag Mittal. Okay, so I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Parag Mittal. Right now, I've grabbed an internship at Microsoft, and I currently work at Shape AI. Okay, so today, I'll be your instructor for all those 7 days, and today we'll be covering just basic of Python. Like for the first few days, we'll be covering basic of Python, and then we'll go into data analytics part. So just write hi or something like that if you can clearly listen to me and see my stream. Just write it's okay. Like if my sound is okay, then write okay, and if you can see me clearly, then write okay. Voice not clear. Is that the case with everyone? Voice is too low. Okay, let me check that one as well. Okay, now tell me, is my voice clear? Okay, I'm getting some low voice messages. Let me know if my voice is clear now. I'm not able to understand a thing by seeing the live chat. Okay, let me just check my mic. Okay, so I guess my voice is clear now. If that's the case, then I'll continue with the session right now. Okay, great. So let's start, not delaying the session again, start with the session right away. So I have the link to the notebook. So just open a new tab and just write Google Colab. Okay, then click on the first link, which is collab.research.google.com. After you click on that one, there is an option named GitHub. Okay, click on this link and paste the URL. Okay, I guess I'll have to copy the URL again. Okay. Okay, let me grab the URL again. Okay, so paste the URL right away, right here. Guys, can you please stop writing this stuff? I'll share the URL here in the chat section. So get the link if you want right now. Okay, copy the link from there, and please don't write anything extra in the chat section. Okay, so after you paste the link right here, you can see the repository and then just click on the search button. Okay, I guess everyone following me till now. Link is not available. No, I've shared the link. Okay, so everyone can see my screen right now. Don't wait for attendance. Don't worry about the attendance right now. Focus on the session. Attendance link will be shared at the end of the session. Don't worry about that. So, okay, I'll continue the session. Like I said, don't worry about the attendance. The link will be shared here in the during the stream itself. Okay, you want me to repeat the process? Okay, that's fine. Write the Google Colab. Just write Google Colab. Then click on the first link, collab.research.google.com. Click on that one, and then a prompt like this will open. Click on this GitHub right here, and here just paste the link that I have shared in the chat section. I'm sharing the link again. Just paste this link and click on the search button. As soon as you do that, you're ready to go. Okay, I'm sharing the link again. Okay. So I guess all of you can see the link right now. Okay, like Sandhya, I have tell you the process 2 times. If you want to see the process again, just rewind the video and see the process. Like we are already getting late, so let me start with the session. Okay, so the first thing is data types and operators. So what are data types? Like we have integer, float, boolean, string in the Python, and operators like arithmetic operators. So these are the things that we'll be seeing today, like throughout the notebook. Okay, so these are the things that will. Let me zoom the code a bit as well, so that you all can see the code clearly. Okay, so these are the things that we'll be seeing today. Like we'll be seeing what are data types, what are operators, some built-in function, and like some white space and style guidelines. So the first thing is print function. Okay, so you might see like this is. Let me explain you what is Google Colab like first right now. So Google Colab is a online platform to run by Google itself to like run the Python code. So this thing right here, the box that you can see is the cell. You write the code in this cell. Okay, you write the code here, and when you press click on this play button, okay, run cell button, or you can just press shift plus enter. Let me repeat, shift plus enter. When you press that one, the code will be executed. So right here, so firstly connect to the GitHub, like connect to the Colab. Okay, so it's just giving me like it's just connecting, like my server is connecting to the Colab. Okay, now I'm ready to go. So because it's a GitHub authorized notebook, like I have to authorize it. So when you press shift enter, the cell will run, and you can see I'm getting the output 2 into 7, which is 14, but I'm not getting 9. I'm just getting 2 into 7, which is 14. Okay, so in Python, let me tell you, like if we write 2 star, if I just write 2 star 5, that just means 2 multiplied by 5. Okay, when I write 2 plus 5, like that means like 7. So when I run the cell, you can see I can only see 14 as the output, but what about this 9? So when we want want to print each and every output, so in that case we take help of print function. So we just write print, and then in the brackets, like curly round brackets, the thing that I want to print. So right now I want to print 2 plus 7. Okay, when I want, if I want to, so I'll write print in brackets 2 plus 7. And I also want to print 14, so I'll write 2 into 7 as well. So when I run the code, it will print 9 and 14. Okay, if I don't write print, then only the last statement, like the statement which is written at the end, that is the statement that will get print. If I just write 16 here and run the cell, the output will be 16 only, because I have noticed the print function. But if I'm using print statement, so then all the statements that inside the print will get will be shown in the output. So I can write some statements in the print function as well. So to write some statements, I can just write print, and then it's round brackets, either in single quotes, the statement, let's say Paragmital itself, or like print in double quotes, Paragmital. So what both of these sequences are correct. Like either use single quotes or double quotes. Like both of these statements are correct. So when I do this, I get the output hello world. The string return, like the statement return inside these quotes. Okay. Please wait for the attendance leak. Don't hurry. Don't worry about attendance right now. Focus on the session. Okay, I'm sharing the notebook link again. Use this link. Now the next thing is arithmetic operators. So arithmetic operators are mathematical function that takes 2 operands and performs calculation on them. So what I mean by that, let's say I have let's say 2, and then let's say 5. So these are my two operands. So operand means the things that the numbers I'm working on. So I'm applying like operators on these two things, like these two numbers. So these two are my operands. So if I apply a mathematical operator on them, so it will do the mathematical task. If I add plus here, so that just means 2 plus 5. It will just add these two numbers. If I write subtract, so that means subtract. If I use star, so that means multiply. Okay, so these are all the operators. So plus means addition, minus means subtraction, and star means multiplication. Single like / means division. So when I write 2 by 3, like let's say 3 by 2, so that means 1.5. And like this mode means remainder after division. So that might be new for you. So when I write 3 mod 2, so that means the remainder I will get when I divide 3 by 2. So if I divide 3 by 2, so that means I get the remainder 1. So this modular operator will just return 1. Similarly, if I write 5 modulus 3, so that means 2, because when I divide 5 with 3, I get the remainder 2. And if I write 5 modulo 5, so that returns 0, because when I divide 5 by 5 is 0. So this modulo operator just returns the remainder. The next operator is double star, so that means exponentiation. So when I write 2 double star 3, that means 2 to the power 3. So that means 8. So you might be thinking that this symbol represents power function. No. In Python, it does not represent this function. It represents XOR operator. So this operator is like different from what you can see right here. So don't confuse it with the like exponential operator. In Python, it is exponential operator and it's XOR operator. We will see into that like at the later point of time. But right now for the power function, we use double star. The next is double /. So when I write 3 by 2, it returns me 1.5. But when I write 3 double/2, so this thing returns me 1. This thing returns me the value, like whatever be this value, it returns me greatest integer factor of this value. Like the largest integer smaller than this number. So the integers which are smaller than this, smaller than 1.5 are 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2, like they are infinite integers. But the largest one among them is 1. So 3 4/2, that will give me 1. Similarly, if I write, let's say 2 /3, so it's actually 0.667, like, but the largest integer which is less than this number is 0. So 2 double /3 will be 0. So let me show you with the help of the code as well. Okay, so write a code to add 2 plus 7. So that means print, because I need to print the output. So I'll use print function, and then I want to print 7 plus 2. So I'll write 7 plus 2. Similarly, I want to subtract 2 from 7. So print 7 minus 2. Multiply 7 with 2. So that means print 7 star 2. Print 7 by 2. Similarly, remainder I want, that means I need to use modulo function. So that means print 7 modulo 2. Okay. 7 raised to the power 2, that means print 7 double star 2. And that means like rounded it to the nearest integer, that means print 7 double / and then 2. So when I run the cell, I get the output 9, 5, 14, 3.5, 1, and it's 49 and it's 3. So you can see 3.5 is like being replaced with 3, the largest integer which is smaller than this number. So everyone following me till now? Is there like a lot of background noise from my side? like, is my voice clear? I'll share the link again. Okay, please let me know if my voice is not clear or like there's a lot of background noise. Okay, that's great. So following me till now. Okay. Okay, so it's clear. That's great. So let me move on to the next part, which is order of operations. So let's say if I write 2 plus 3 star 5. So in this case, I'm applying like 2 operators. So which operation will be executed first? So that depends on order, like order of operators. So the Python we use, like Python follows bedmaster operator. So that means firstly it will solve brackets, and then exponents, and then division and multiplication. So let's say even if I have 3 star 5 by 2. So these two have same priority, like division and multiplication have same priority. So in that case, we will go from left to right. So we'll start from left and go to right. So multiplication come first. So we will solve this multiplication, then this division. Okay, and then the last at the end we give preference to addition and subtraction. So when I write 2 plus 3 star 5, so multiplication have higher preference. So we will first multiply these numbers. So that means 2 plus 15, and then we will add. It means 17. Okay, so here's a question for you guys. If you want, like, try it for your practice. Like, whatever the question in the notebook, I'll not be solving those questions. These are for your practice. Okay, so try to solve the question after the session. The next thing is variables. Okay, so what are variables? Let's say my name is Parag Mittal, but no one speaks to me saying, "Hey Parag Mittal." They just call me with my nickname. So variable works in a similar way. Let's say I have a value. Let's say I just have a string Parag Mittal. Let's say I have this thing itself. Okay, now I just assign a variable. Okay, assign this value to variable name. I just say name equals to Parag Mittal. So in my code, wherever I'll be writing name. So that means I mean Parag Mittal. Okay, let me tell you with a mathematical example. Let's say you want to calculate rent for a house. Okay, so you have a property. Okay, so you have a house. You have given it on rent to someone. Now you want to calculate the amount he has to pay. So you write a code for that. Okay, now let's say rent initially was, let's just say $1,000 per month. Okay, so let's say it was the rent. So you write a code to calculate the rent for 1 year. So that did your task. It gives you the rent, total amount. I should say the total amount the person has to pay to you. Now let's say next year rent changes to $1,500. So what you'll have to do is you just have to go inside this whole code. You just have to go inside this whole code, and wherever you written 1,000, you'll just have to replace that 1,000 with 1,500. So that's a difficult task to do. You just have to go through each and every line of the code. You say, okay, wherever there's 1,000, I need to I need to confirm whether this 1,000 means the rent. Like what if the 1,000 is a principal amount? Like what if the 1,000 is a time? Like it can be any other number. I'll just first have to confirm, okay, this 1,000 is my rent. I need to replace it with 1,500. So doing that takes a lot of time. Your code is difficult to understand. Like the someone who is new might face difficulty in understanding your code, and also like it increases the chance of error. So what we can do is we can create a variable named rent. I'll write rent equals to 1,000. I'll write a code and I will never use 1,000 in the code. I will just write rent. Like wherever I need to multiply something with rent or add in that, I'll just write RENT. So that automatically means 1,000. And next year, let's say if the price raises to 1,500, I don't need to change the value inside the code. I just need to go and update that rent equal to 1,500. I just need to change it right here. If I run the code again, so wherever rent is written, there it will use value 1,500 instead of 1,000. So that just increase the efficiency and decrease the chance of the error. Okay, so there's a lot of background noise, I guess. Okay, I first ask you, is my voice clear or not? Okay, just wait for a minute. Let me know, is my voice clear now? Like I have changed I've added a noise gate. Let me know if my voice is clear now. Okay, so it's clear now, I guess. Okay, so my voice is clear enough. Okay, then that's great. Okay, if you want, I can switch off my fan. Okay, let me do that first. Just wait for a minute. Okay, now my voice should be clear. Okay, just let me check that now. Okay, now let me know if my voice is clear. Okay, so that's fine. The next thing is variable. Like I was talking about the variables. So think of variable as a box. Let's say it's a box. It stores some value, which is data. Okay, so I name the box, let's say B1. So that means B1 is a variable which stores the data inside the box. Okay, so if this box is containing 5, so that means B1 equals to 5. Okay, so how do I create a variable? I'll just write month equal to 12. So that means if I write month equal to 12, so that means whatever be the value on the left hand side, it is the name of the variable, and whatever be the value on the right hand side, that is the value. So this means month now stores 12. So if I try to print month, so that will print the value of the month, which is 12. Okay, now you try to create a variable named rent with value 1700. Okay, try to do this on your own. So let me move to this section. So here I've written a equals to 3. So a equals to 3 means, when I write a equals to 3, that means 3, like a stores 3 now. and then write b equals to a. So that means b is another variable which is storing this value. So because a stores 3, so that means b also stores 3 now. So if I try to print b, that will like print 3. If I write b equals to a plus 2, so that means a stores 3. So that means 3 plus 2, which is 5. So if I try to print b again, that will print 5. Okay, so I guess that's clear now. What if I like here? What if I don't declare variable? So if I try to print x, I'm saying okay, print the value of x, but in the code above, I have never defined what is x. So if I try to print x again, so I will get an error like name x is not defined because I have never tell the computer what is x. So it will just throw an error like x is not defined. So if you have not created a variable and if you're trying to access that, it will throw you an error. So moving on to the next part, multiple assignment operator. So let's say I want to calculate the volume of a cube. I have height, length and width. So in that case, I can just write height, like I can write the code in this way. That's totally fine. I make a variable height that is storing 3, length is storing 6, width is storing 2. And I say volume equals to height star length star width. So that means 3 star 6 stars 2. So that is 36. I'm printing the volume, it's printing 36. But instead of writing all these 3 things in a new line, in Python, what we can do is we can write it in a single line. I can just write height, comma length, comma width equal to 3, 6, 2. So in that case, it will give the first value to the first variable, second value to the second variable, third value to the third variable. And when I write volume equals to height star length star width and I print that, so that will just print me the volume. Okay, so try to do this question on your own. So that means I have given the value of x, y and z, which is 4, 5 and 6. Calculate the length, which is 4 to the power 2 plus 5 to the power 2 plus 6 to the power 2, like, and whole to the power 1 by 2. So try doing that yourself and see if you can get this output. Now there are some convention for variable naming. So like I can, when I'm naming a variable, let's say I've written a equals to 3. So a is the name of the variable. Name of the variable. So there are some convention in naming that as well. So rule 1 is like we can start variable name with an alphabet or an underscore. I can either write ABC or underscore ABC. So I can start the name of the variable with a character, like with an alphabet, which is either it might be lowercase or uppercase, and I can start it with an underscore. Okay, the name can only contain capital like alphabets, small alphabets, digits and underscore. Okay, so it should not contain some special character like dollar and at the rate. Okay, we cannot start variable with variable name with a number. I cannot write 9a equal to 3. So it's not a valid variable name because it starts with a number. We cannot use special characters like dollars, modulo, hash and all these symbols in the variable name. Variable name are case sensitive. So that means if I make a variable ABC and if I'm writing ABC, so these two are different variables because here the a is small and it's large, like it's capital. So variable name are case sensitive. Case sensitive means like the case of the characters makes the effect. Do not use reserved keywords for a variable name. Okay, so we cannot use, like there are some keywords, there are some reserved keywords I can say in the Python. So these keywords have a special meaning. Let's say if is a keyword, so it has its own meaning. I cannot name a variable if because that has its specific meaning. So I should avoid naming a variable with a specific keyword. Like these are some example of the keywords: class, for, def, del, is, else. Okay, so I should avoid using that one. So these are some allowed variable names. X, it starts with an alphabet and contains only alphabet. Like similarly X, Y, my Python, it contains underscore, it starts with underscore, and like these are some variable like valid names. Okay, but these are not, because the first one is starting with a integer, the second one starts with a minus symbol, like special character. So it also contains special character at the rate. It has space. This variable has space, so we cannot add space in the name of variable as well. And 4 is a reserved keyword, so we can't use that as variable name as well. So if I run this cell, I will get the error, like invalid syntax error. Okay. Also, there is a naming convention. Like when I name a variable, I should try to keep I should not write like ABC equals to 10. Let's say if it's a cube, like it's a square, and its side is 10. If I'm naming a variable side, so I should write like side equal to 10, so that someone who is like unknown, like who doesn't understand our code, like who doesn't know what we have written, can easily understand that this variable means the side of the square. But we should also avoid using that thing, like I'm naming side underscore of underscore square. So I should also try to avoid that one as well, because name of the variable should be like small, but it should be descriptive as well. Okay. Also, like Pythonic way is to use only lowercase alphabets. So like we can write capital SIDE as well, but in general in Pythonic way, we prefer to keep all the variable name in small, like small SIDE. Okay, so these are the name in Pythonic way. Okay, this variable won't work because it has space. These two will work, but we should try avoiding that because they contain like uppercase alphabets. Okay, I'm getting an error because this one is not valid. But if I comment this out, so these variable will work, but we should try avoiding these. So whenever I'm writing hash and then some statement, so that is considered as a comment in Python. So what is comment? Like comments are the statements that are written like for us, for programmers itself. So these are statements that we write for the programmer to understand the code. Compiler doesn't read these statements. Compiler just skip these statements and read the non-commented statements only. Okay. So everything fine till now? So let me move to the if it's fine, let me move to the next part. The variable name can be overwritten. Like I said, initially I've written rent equal to 1700. So that means this variable stores 1700. But when I write rent equal to 2000, so let me show you. Let's say it's my box rent. It stores 1700. When I write rent equals to 1700, so that means it's storing 1700. But as soon as I write rent equals to 2000, so that means like change this value inside the box to 2000. So this box now contains 2000. It doesn't contain 1700 anymore, it contains 2000. So this value has been overwritten. So when I try to print it, it will print 2000 now. Okay. So this thing is called overwriting of the variables. Like we have overwritten the value. We have overwritten the previous value. Now come to this part. So initially I make a variable rent. Rent is storing 1700. Now I say, okay, store 2000 in that. Now when I write rent equals to rent plus 700. So now this stored 2000. So firstly, this value will be calculated. compiler will calculate this value first. So it will calculate rent plus 700, which is 2000 plus 700. So which is equal to 2700. And now it will assign this value to this variable rent. So my rent variable will finally store 2700. Okay, so if I run the code, it will print 2700. Okay, those who want like the notebook link, I've shared that one. Let me share that one again. It's the last time I'm sharing the notebook link. I've closed the tab. Okay, so similarly, now there's one more thing, like when I want to write 10 equal to n plus 1700, there's a shortcut way to write that as well. Okay, let's say I want to perform rent equals to rent plus 700. So I can also write rent plus equals to 700. So this statement also means the same. So it's a general notation. Variable name, let's say variable name, operator, it can be like any of the operator, like it can be plus, minus, division, multiplication, modulo operator, like any operator it might be, and then equals to some value. So this thing is equivalent to variable name equals to variable name plus that value. So in this case, rent is the name of the variable. So rent is the name of the variable, and like plus is the operator that we have used, and 17. So it's like 700 is the value that we are adding. So it's equivalent to rent equals to rent plus 700. So if I run this cell, it will also print 2700. Okay, so I guess it's fine now. Okay, so moving on to the next part. Here's a question for you. Try to do that, like literally try to do that. Like it's for your practice. Do that. If you're like getting the same output, then that's correct. That's great. And if you're facing some issue, like ping us on the WhatsApp. The next thing is integers and floats. So what are integer and float? So these are the data types. So let's say I have make a variable a which is storing 7. So that means this variable, it is storing an integer because 7 is an integer. Okay, like what are integers? Like values with no decimal points. Okay, so you might be wondering what an integer is. Okay, leave that one instead. Okay, so this variable stores an integer, but if I write a equals to 7.5, so it is storing some decimal value. So that means I will say that a is a float. So float is nothing like the variable storing the decimal value, like it's storing 7.5. Okay. An integer nothing but variable storing integer values. So if I try to print 3 by 2, so that will print 1.5. So this means that is printing a float value. Like 1.5 is a float value, is a floating point. I will say 1.5, it's a float value. Or I can say it's a floating point. Both mean the same. Okay, so we can check the data type of a variable using type function. So a equals to 3, like I said, a is storing 3. So that means a is storing an integer. B is storing a float value. So when I write type and the name of the variable, so if I write type and then name of the variable. So that will just print me the type of the value this variable is storing. So in this case, A is storing 3 and B is storing 2.5. So if I try to print their type, so it will print like this thing, like A is storing integer and B is storing float. Okay, so I guess that's fine till now. Those who don't know like how to run this code in the Python, like in the collab, just go to the beginning of the session. I have explained how to do that. Okay, so moving on to the next part, I can also convert the type of the value, like an integer to the float and float to integer in Python as well. So if I write a equals to float 3, so that means like convert this 3 into floating point. Okay, so it will convert 3 into floating point. So it will contain 3.0. So it has converted 3 into 3.0. Like it's a floating point now. And also if I write integer 28.9, so that means convert this number into an integer. So to convert a number into an integer, it's not going to round off the number. It's just going to truncate this decimal part. It will remove this part and it will keep the integer part only. So that's why we will get the output 28 and not 29. So I wrote int 28.9. So that means convert this into an integer, and I try to print B, so it's printing 28. Okay, so I guess everything is fine till now. My video or my camera's got stuck. Okay. Just wait for a minute. So is it just my camera that okay, my camera got stuck and everything else is fine, I guess. Okay, anyway, you don't need to see me, like either way, just focus on the notebook. I don't know why that issue happened, but yeah, we can continue this way as well. Okay, so let me continue right now. So there's a small point which you might which you need to know. I guess my voice is clear now. Like forget about my video. I guess voice is clear. If voice is clear, just write voice clear. Okay, so I guess my voice is clear now. What is truncation? Truncation means, let's say I've written 25.3. So truncation means if I'm saying it will truncate the decimal part, that it means it's gonna ignore it. It's just gonna delete this part, and it will keep only 25. It will keep only 25. So 0.3, like this 0.3 has been truncated. It has been removed. Okay. So yeah, okay, that's fine. My voice is clear. So there's another small point. When I write float like 0.23, it's a float value, but actually it's not always 0.23. This value is the actual value that is being stored is something a bit larger than 0.23. It might be 0.2300000001, but it's very close to 0.23. It's in the case of float only in Python. Okay, so if you just try to add lot of 0.23 here, so and if you try to compare with the actual result, which should be 6.9, if I run the code, you will see false because it's not actually 6.9. The actual value of this is 6.9006. It's very close to 6.9, but it's not same. So floating point contains the actual value they store is a bit larger than the value that we expected to store, but it's very close to that value. Okay, so and now the next part is division by 0 and errors. So if I try to divide 4 with 0, so division with 0 is not possible, so I will get an error. Okay, so I get an error. So this error contain like trace back part. So this thing show you like what the program was doing when it broke, like when we got an error, what this thing was doing. So we can just ignore all these lines. Okay, the main error that the main important line of the error that can show us like what was the error is the last line. It says 0 division error, division by 0. So it clearly says I'm dividing the number with 0, so which is not possible. So it's showing me that error. Okay, in general there are two types of error. First is exception. Okay, first is exception and second one is syntax. So exceptions are something like which are syntactically correct, that your code is correct. Exception means your code is correct, you have written the code correctly, but let's take example of 0 division error, like 4 by 0. So when you're doing 4 by 0, that means like code is correct, but it can't do that operation. So in that case it will generate an exception. But let's say if you write, let me add another cell here. Let's say you write print 4, like print 4. So it's a syntax error because here like syntax is not correct. Your code should contain closing bracket as well. So in this case syntax is wrong, so it will show you a syntax error. Okay, so the next type of operands are Boolean data type. So Boolean data type means true or false. So Boolean data type means true or false. So these variables stores either true value or false. Okay, so if I say Python awesome, it stores true, so it's a Boolean data type. And if I say documentation bad, false, that it's also a Boolean data type because these are storing either true or false. I can also use comparison operator to compare two values and they will also return a Boolean output. So if I write a equals to 3 greater than 1, so because 3 is greater than 1, this thing will return true. This thing means true. So a will store true. Okay, let me run this cell as well. Okay, so a will return true. But if I say 3 is less than 1, so if I run the cell, it will print false because this statement is false. This statement is false, so I will get the false as the output. Okay, we can also use some like Boolean operator as well. So there is the operator and Boolean operator. So these are the operators that we apply on Boolean values, like bool values. So bool values means true or false. Okay, so the first operator is AND operator. Second one is OR operator. So AND operator means true and true equals to true, but true and false equals to false, false and true equals to false, and false and false equals to false. Like this thing will return generate true only if both of the inputs are true. In OR function, it will generate true if either of the value is true. Like it will generate true in this case. True and false it will generate true. False and true it will also generate true because in this case this one is true and in this case this one is true. But in the last one, all of like both of them are false. So it will generate false. So I will get the output as false. So these are the Boolean operators. Let's say rent is 1200 and I say is affordable. rent greater than 1000 and rent less than 2000. So that means this rent is greater than 1000. That's true. This thing is true. And rent is also less than 2000. So it is also true. So it means true and true. So it will print true. Also, there is an operator like not. So not is just it just changed the bool value. Not of true means false, and not false means true. So this thing is written like we just saw, this thing is storing true, and we say not, like not of true, it means false. So if I try to print is affordable now, that will print false this time. So is this thing clear now to everyone? Okay, so let me know if this thing is clear to everyone. Okay, then that's great. Moving on to the next part, like here's a question for you. Try to do that on your own. Expected output is false. So the next thing is string. String is also a type data type, like string. It is a data type. Okay, like just like we have integer and float. So string stores a sequence of characters. Let's say my name, which is Parag. So it's a string. Okay, let's say shape AI. It's also a string. So how do I write strings? So I just write string either in single quotes or in double quotes. So whatever be the thing I write inside these single quotes or inside these double quotes, that is a string. So if I write print shape AI using double quotes, then that means string shape AI, and it also means the same, print shape AI. So if I run the cell, I will get the same output, shape AI, shape AI. Okay, like this is also a string. Inside the string, we can have special character space and all this thing. So it doesn't matter. Like everything written inside these double quotes will be counted as a part of the string. Okay, so if I do that, it just print learn space like slash like space code and all this thing. So string in Python is shown as a variable type str. So if I try to print, like what do I mean by that? So if I try to print type of the string motto, like type of the variable motto, the variable motto contains string. So if I try to print its type, so it will print str. So str means string. Okay, it will not print string. In Python, we represent string data type with str. Okay, so the next thing is, what if I want my string like this? Like what if, let me copy this one as well. Like Shiva said, you learn as you grow. Shiva said, you learn as you grow. So my string now contains these double quotes. So if I try to write it like this, compiler will interpret these two as a pair and these two as a pair. So it will give you an error, like it will sing, like it will not understand what you're trying to do is, and it will generate an error, syntax error you may say. So in Python, if we want to tackle this thing, there are two ways. One is start the string with a single quote and like put these things in double quote, or we can do the opposite as well. If I run the code, you will see I'm getting Shiva said, you learn as you grow. Or what I can do is I can do it like this as well. I can just put this statement in single quotes and the whole string in double quotes. So in that case, well, it will print Shiva said, you learn as you grow. There is another preferred way of doing this is using backslash. So when you write it like this, you backslash and then the quote. So backslash means consider the next quote as the part of the string. Does not like consider it as a part of this, a pair of this, but consider it as a part of the string. So I can write Shiva, you. If I run the code, you will see like this backslash will not get printed, but this dash, like this quote, is now considered as a part of the string and it's getting printed. So in that case, like using backslash, we can do the same task as well. Okay, so I guess that's clear now. Okay, we can concat two strings as well. So what we can do is I can write string 1 plus string 2. I can concat these two strings if I write A plus B. So the output will be AB. It will just concat these two strings. So let's see with the help of example. I said the first string is hello. The next one is world. So I can do is hello world. If I print, it's just gonna print hello world, but this word doesn't make any sense. I want to add space between these two words as well, so I can add a new string as well, concat space, like empty string, a string which contains only space between these two strings. So that will do my task, hello space world. Okay, just wait for a minute. Let me do one thing. Just wait for a minute. Let me just note a name. Okay, great. Okay, just wait for a minute. Okay, let me continue the session right now. Okay, so moving on to the next part, I say word equals to hello. So that means word is a variable which is storing this string. Okay, so if I try to print word star 5, so star, when I use star operator with a string. Okay, so when I write star operator, when I use string, star, let's say 2. So that means concat this string 2 times. Let's say in this case, I wrote star, hello star 5. So that means hello 5 times. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, so star operator means like multiplication operator in the case of string means concat this string that much number of times. Okay, like the next thing is other operators except addition star, like multiplication. Other operators doesn't work on string, so I cannot divide two strings, so I will get an error if I try to do that. So because you can see the last line, type error, unsupported operand type string for slash, like string and string we cannot divide two strings. Okay, there is another inbuilt function for the string which is length. Okay, so what I can do is I can just write length and then string, like this length function, this thing will return me the length of the string. So let's say if I write length parag, so parag contains 1 2 3 4 5 characters, so this thing will return 5. Okay, so try to print that as well. So I said word length equal to length of shape AI, so shape AI contains 7 characters, So this thing means 7. So 7 gets stored in this variable word length, and if I try to print word length, I get the 7 as output. Okay, so moving on to the next part. Okay, is my stream clear? Everyone, I'm getting an error message here. Okay, so let me know if my stream is clear right now. Okay, so it's clear. So moving on to the next part, like there are some few questions for you. Try to do those. Okay, now comes the next part, which is type. Okay, it's a revision part. So I'm just skipping these part. So let's come to these string methods. Okay, so what are string methods? So these are some functions, inbuilt function for the string. Okay, so how do I use those functions? I just write, let's say my string, let's say it's shape AI. So my string is a variable containing this string. So I can write my string, then dot. So I'll have to write dot. And then any of these functions that I want to use, and then brackets. So that will do the work for me. No one expect you to learn all these functions, all these methods, and just to know what these functions do. What you can always do is you can just always go to the documentation and see which function do. So let me show you some example. The first function is dot is lower. So this thing check whether all the characters are in lowercase or not. So in this case we have S and AI in the uppercase, so it will return false. Dot count A will return me the count of A in the string. So we have dot count A. Yeah, so we have single A in the string, small a. Okay, because character is case sensitive, so it's gonna return 1. Dot find A will return me at which position A is present in my string. So the position starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2. So it returns 2. Okay. So moving on to the next part, which is format function. Like it's important function. So let me move on to the next part. Format function. So what is format function? Let's say I want to print I like, and then I want to replace it with the food that I like. It's a fruit. Just let's say I want to replace it with a fruit that I like. Okay, so I have stored the value. Let's say I've stored mango. So I have stored mango in a variable named fruit. Okay, so if I want to print the value of fruit here, so if I write print, like it's I like fruit. So in that case, it will just print the exact statement. It will not use the value of fruit mango. It's just gonna print this line. So how do I use the value of fruit in the string? So to do that, we use dot format function. So we write I like, and here I want to replace it with the fruit value. So I just write curly braces, and after the string ends, I write dot format, and then variable name, which is fruit. So what it will do is it's gonna pick up the value of this variable. So it will take this variable value, which is mango, and it's gonna put that value inside this curly braces. It will print I like mango. Okay, what if I want to write I like mango and orange? So we can use double curly braces as well. Like we can do it in this way: I like curly braces 1, and then curly braces 2, and then dot. Like this dot is important, and then we write format, and then name of the variable 1. Let's say the variable name was fruit 1. So fruit 1 stores mango, and then comma, then fruit 2. So what it will do is it will assign value of first variable to the first bracket, value of second variable to the second bracket. Let's see with the help of a code. I said Muhammad has dash like curly braces balloons, and then dot format 27. So it's just gonna assign 27 inside these brackets. So if I print, I get Muhammad has 27 balloons. Similarly, like animal means dog, action means bite. So these are the two variables. So in the first bracket, it will like put the value of animal, and in the second one, it's gonna put the value of action. So it will print, does your dog bite? Similarly, Maria loves math and statistics. So if I run the cell, I get these things as my output. So I guess that format function is clear to everyone. Okay, so I guess it's clear now. So moving on to the next part, which is link. Okay, let me cover this. Let me see what I need to cover today. Link, tuple, sets. Okay, that's a lot of stuff to complete. Okay, so let me go with the list right now. So what are lists? A list is most common in basic data structure in Python. So what a list does is, let's say you go to let's say you go to market. Okay, you make a list of the thing that you want to buy. So you just write like on the number 1, I want to buy this thing. You make a shopping list. So this list is similar to what we have in Python. So in Python as well, a list stores many different combination of data types, like a number and combination of data types. So what I mean by that, this list students is storing the name, like all these strings: Sam, Pam, Rocky, Austin, Steve, Banner. Okay, so list is a data structure, like data type that stores many number of data types. Those data type may be like those variables may be of same data type or different data type. So what do I mean by that? I can make a list, let's say ls. It can store number 1, it can store number 2. The next value that it might be storing, that might be string 1. Okay, then it can also store 6 point or like float value. So this thing is also a list. The way of writing a list is quite simple. We just write square brackets and then the value that I want to store separated with a comma. So when I do this, a list will be created and all those will be stored. Like this list, like I can store it in a variable, let's say var. So that means var is a variable storing this list. So here I wrote students equal to like this list, So student is a variable now which is storing this list, and here ls is a variable which is storing this list. So when I run the cell, okay, so we can see no error here. Now if I want to just go and look what is the first value of the list. So in the list, let's say it's my list. So if it's my list, so all these numbers, all the values in the list are given a number. The first value is given a number 0. It's called index. The second value is given by number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So students, if I want to access the first value, then I can write name of the list, like name of the variable, which is students. So I'll write students, and then in square brackets, the value that I want to print. So I want to print value at index 0. So I'll write 0. So this thing will print Sam. This thing will give Sam. Students of 1 means Pam. Okay. So similarly, I can access the value of the string using numbers. This thing is called indexing. Okay, I'm using index to access the value of the list. So if I try to run the cell here, so you can see the first value is Sam, so I get Sam. The second one is Pam. Okay, if I write 4 here, so the value at 4th index, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's Steve. So I will get the output as Steve in the 3rd line. Okay, I can also use negative indexing. So negative indexing means from the end. So -1 means last, the value at last index, which is Banner. -2 means second last value, which is Steve. So if I run the cell now, again, I can see Banner, Steve and Austin as the output. Okay, now if I try to access a value which is out of the string, like my string contains only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values. If I try to access 20th element of the string, like 21st element of the string, so that will give me an error because that value doesn't exist. It will say index error, list index out of range. So it's out of the range of the list. Okay, so I guess that's clear now. Moving on to the next part, like membership operators. So in the list, I can do slicing of the list as well. So what does slicing means? Let's say I have a list students. If I want to access some specific values, like some values between some range, let's say it was my list. Okay, just wait, let me. Okay, so let's say it is my list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I want to access the value, all the values between this range, I can also do so using a thing like called membership operator. So let's say it is a name of the list is roll number. Let's say roll is the name of the list. So I can write roll and then in square brackets, then the range that I want to, like the range in which I want to print print the value. So the indexes are 0, 1, like these are my index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So what can I do is I can write, the first value that I want to print is 1. So I will write 1 and then colon. Then the last value that I want to print is at 4. So I will write 5, like I will say print values starting from 1 and before 5. So if I do this, it's gonna print all the values between 1 and 5. So let me run that as well. It's printing like value at 4, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, Steve, Banner and Tony. It's not printing the value at index 7, which is Bruce. No, it's just gonna print value starting from 4 and ending before 7. Similarly, in the case of string as well, like student is a string, students is a list, but student is a string. If I try to slice in that as well, I can do like slicing in the string as well. I write student name and then it's like 1 to 3. That means starting from 1, which is A, and before 3, which is like AR. So I get the output AR only. Okay, so the syntax for this goes like this, like name of the variable in square brackets, then start, then colon, then end. Like start means the start index and then end index. But what if I don't specify one of this? If I just write :7, I don't specify the start index. So in that case, by default, it will pick the value from the very beginning. Like whatever be the starting index of the string. Let's say if it's a list, it will start from the first element itself. And if I don't specify the end, if I say 2 colon, and if I don't specify the end, so in that case, it's gonna pick up the very end of the string, like very end of the list of the string. So it will go up to the last element. It will start printing from second and print all the values after that. So in this case, you can see the output itself, like it's printing up to the last character, and in student it starts from the first index and print till the string ends. Okay, so these are the like it's slicing from till end. You can see these two examples. Okay, now we will not cover all these things today. We will cover all these things tomorrow. I guess that's enough for today. Let me cover this thing only. Okay, we will cover this thing. We will start from this thing tomorrow. We'll start from here tomorrow. Okay, let me share you the attendance link. Okay, okay, let me create an attendance link first. D1. Analytics. Basics of Python 1. So collecting letters, limit to 1 response, edit after submit. Save. Response received always. So it's email address. Short answer. Require. And I guess I'm ready to go. So it is a link to the form. I'm not gonna share the link in the chat section. Okay, just take a screenshot of the link itself. Just take the screenshot of the link right now. I'm not gonna share the link in the chat section. There are some reasons behind that. Okay, just take a screenshot right now and like copy the link in your browser and just fill your attendance. Okay, so that will end up today's session. So I guess you got the things which we discussed today. So the link to the notebook will be shared. Don't worry about that. I've shared that in the chat section itself, but I'll update the description of the video as well so that you can get the link from there. Try to solve the questions which were there in the notebook yourself. Okay. Okay, you want me to share the GitHub link again? I've shared that one many times. Let me see. No. Okay. Don't worry about that. Like I'll update the description of the video so you can see the GitHub link. Don't worry about that. Okay, let me just. Okay, thank you everyone. So I'll be ending today's session. Okay, my name is Parag Mittal. Some of you are asking my name. I started with my introduction in the beginning of the session. Okay, thank you everyone. So I'll be ending the stream right away. So hope to see you all tomorrow as well.